Hello, I'm Dave Gilroy, and I want to make a short speech having to do with how to deal with my anxiety. One thing I need to make room for as a way to be gentle with myself is I have a challenge these days. The last 2 or 3 years, I have trouble remembering certain words. Like I'll be starting to talk and I'll think of a certain word that's the perfect word to communicate what I want to communicate, and I can't think of what it is. So I want to say this before I start, that at any point during this talk, I might pause and I might be going in and practicing being kind to myself instead of beating on myself that I can't remember a word, that I just need some support inside of me. And when I can be kind to myself in that way, usually a word comes. So that's one thing I wanted to say. The other, I can't remember what it was. So let us begin.
Well, David, I love being in the presence of you guys. I'm quite sure you guys hear that a lot. And if you don't, I wanna definitely say that. Once again, I'm a kid in a candy store. And I can take a lot of bit from all of you and apply it to my life as well. So I thank you for that intro.
Sure.
Because that's something I need to work on as well. So thank you for sitting with me, and thank you for giving the world the opportunity to tap into David's world and David's mind. So I have some questions here that the audience and the world, see, I'm doing it now. I'm being patient with myself.
Excellent.
The audience and the people out in the world may need help with, but don't know how to ask. So that's why I wanted to do these one-on-ones with you guys so they can feel a little bit more intimate with you and get some more guidance and knowledge.
Cool.
Right. So first, how can someone recognize when their coping mechanisms like drinking, overeating, or shutting down are unhealthy?
Well, I can talk about how I recognize that. One of my coping mechanisms, right at the very end of high school, I suddenly, after years of saying no, I discovered alcohol. And oh, what a wonderful thing it was, at least for a little while, until I started noticing that I would wake up in the morning and, first of all, I felt like crap. And alcohol had helped me feel like I could be with people and feel friendly and calm. And you could say everything I've done since then has been a way to come back to myself and calm myself and be with myself in a way that feels good without the alcohol or without various other chemicals I tried. And I'm proud to say I survived the 60s and the early 70s.
I've heard those were very hard times to survive if you're indulging.
They were hard, and they were also wonderful in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Almost too wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least things were a little bit more natural.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, there's ways these days you can get in more trouble than we could back then.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. So what was that like for you, dismissing alcohol and other substances out of your life? What was that path like for someone
Well,
that's going through it themselves?
looking back on it, I can see that I was following a path. This is the other thing I'm going to do. These days, I can, at the drop of a hat, I can start to feel tears inside of me. When I connect to a certain depth inside of me.
Understood.
And for years, I kept trying to stay away from my tears, which had the unfortunate effect of making me stay away from my depths. And I don't want to do that. So what I was just going to say when the tears showed up is that at least some of my path has been following the same path that I wish my grandfather, my mother's father, could have taken. He ignored all the signs that would say alcohol may not be the way to go, including the sign of getting hit literally head on by a locomotive in the Providence Railroad yard. He was a railroad employee. He got head on by a train and launched through the air a great number of feet. He survived for another 15 years after that, but he never gave up drinking as far as I know. So I feel like I've been following that same path. It's like going back and picking up the same thread and reworking it. And I think in a way that's what we're all doing. We're not just working on our own stuff. We didn't invent the difficulties inside of us. We inherited them.
That's deep. That's truly, truly deep, because we learn off of what we see as children.
Yep.
Not off of what we're told. Like, you can't tell a kid not to drink and then turn a bottle up.
Yeah, that's an invitation to, oh, there must be something really cool about this.
Yeah. How should people start the process of breaking old habits that no longer serve them?
Well, I'm on this roll right now in this moment, given what we're talking about, feeling like the way to do that is to consciously move towards what doesn't feel cool.
Oof, yeah.
You know, if I make room for I'm feeling nervous, or if I make room for I have some tears inside of me, and I was taught that that's not cool. One thing I can do that I am practicing now is making room for what doesn't feel cool. So if I all of a sudden feel deep tears inside of me, I don't want to waste the opportunity. I want to go for it and meet those tears and meet that part of me that would have turned it all off.
How do you do that? What is that process like?
Well, it's a very simple process involving stopping and coming back to my body by just paying attention to my breathing.
I want to jump around a little bit. I want to talk about couples, because you've been married for a very long time, right?
A very long time, with capital V, capital L, capital T.
How long have you been married?
We got married in 1985, right? And so it's 40 years.
40 years.
And I have to go through an old piece of my own anxiety about inside of me. I just went through a piece of freaking out. Oh, Donna's here listening. I better remember how long I've been married.
I know that was a setup. I apologize for that.
No.
That was a setup. How can couples communicate better during conflict without making the situation worse?
Well, the most important and simplest answer to that question is to stay away from blaming. If I'm angry with my love over there and I respond to her by blaming her, that what's going on between us is all because of her. If I do that, I'm guaranteeing that the conflict is going to keep going.
Yeah.
And may even grow.
Yeah.
For years, my answer to that was to say, oh, there must be something I'm doing wrong. That was my answer to everything, and still is my answer a lot of times. is to assume that whatever's going wrong, it's my fault. And I can be infinitely creative about how to explain that cause and effect thing.
Yeah.
And in that place, I have been able to act like I have great powers, which I do not have. So sprinkled in more and more in my life are times of, okay, I don't have to blame Donna, and I don't have to blame me either. And when I can sit in that place of nobody has to get blamed, sometimes it can feel like kind of a death-defying place. Because for me to blame somebody and put that defense out there was how I created a way to make some space where I could breathe.
Yeah.
And when I have historically blamed myself, it's also created some space where I could duck what feels like could be an assault coming in my direction. And if I'm quick and I find a way to explain everything that it's all my fault, maybe they would be mollified and back off. So the latest chapter inside of me is when I cannot blame Donna and I cannot blame myself. It's like there's a place of, I'm just sort of like floating and I don't know where the landmarks are. And I'm tolerating letting myself be there. So that's my answer to that question at this point in my life.
What does that feel like when you're in that lost space and floating? Is it pain?
For me, it mostly feels scary.
Yeah.
Like if I just found a way to explain, oh, I did this, then I could relax.
Interesting. Now, when you blame yourself, are you now having a conflict with yourself?
When I do that, when I blame myself, yes,
Yeah.
I'm stepping back into conflict with myself.
Yeah. When does it get resolved?
When I can say, oh, that's a defensive move on my part.
Yeah.
And what if I've got nothing to defend? Which, given my childhood, is a radical thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely understood. How should someone manage anger in a healthy way instead of lashing out or bottling it up?
Yeah, that's a good question that goes right along with what we're talking about here. What I want to be able to do, at least on my good days, is when I start to feel angry, can I make room for it as an experience in my body without kind of like joining forces with it? Can I let it be here and bear with me here?
No, take your time.
This is another experience of feeling not so cool, which I keep wanting to make room for.
Not feeling cool?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, if I could just answer your question quickly and smoothly, I could be cool.
I don't think that defines your cool.
I agree. Because I've learned that where my real power is on the other side of going through this uncomfortable feeling of not feeling so cool. And I'm still here. And if I can keep going in the direction of connecting with what's most deep inside of me, that's where I want to be. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes not so much.
Yeah. I think that's cool.
Thank you.
I want to be able to do that. How can people rebuild trust after it's broken in a relationship?
Oh, that's simple.
Yeah?
Very simple. It's probably the hardest thing there is to do, but it's very simple. And that's why so many people stay in fights, sometimes for a whole lifetime,
Yeah.
because the way to do it is to step out of being blaming. And I need to pause again.
So someone in a relationship broke trust. How do we rebuild that? Or is it even possible?
Well, first, let's say it was me that broke trust. The way out of the conflict is I need to find the territory inside of me where I can acknowledge that I did something. I'm responsible for having an impact. And can I live into that and at the same time know that I still deserve love?
Mm-mm.
And I don't have to beat myself.
Yeah.
That's going to be the way back into the conflict, actually. But if I can acknowledge, yep, I'm aware that I just went off center and took a shot in some way at you.
Yeah.
And I can acknowledge that without beating myself up. That's the way out of the conflict. And I guess if the other person has taken a shot at me, and that's what the conflict has been about, can I find the place inside of me where I know a little bit about that? I'm not like some perfect person.
Yeah.
And I can make room for the other person having that human experience of going off center.
Yeah. What do you do with all of your conflicts? I know you're a therapist, but what do you do?
Every time there's any possibility of being able to resolve it, I will go for that.
Okay.
The more conflicts in my life that I can resolve, the more of my power I build up.
How can people stop procrastinating when they know they should be doing but can't get started? When they know what they should be doing but can't get started?
My joke is, can we put that one off to the end? No, let me try to be serious.
That's what makes you cool.
I would say, can I be gentle with myself about that? Can I appreciate that there's something about doing this right now that feels like a challenge, that feels scary? And can I be gentle with myself about that? That it's okay for me to feel scared.
Yeah.
And in that way, can I join with myself?
By joining with yourself and being scared, how do you overcome the scarcity? Or
I don't have to overcome anything. That's the beauty part of this process. I can be with myself, or I can be with another person and meet them in that. Like when I'm scared, I can stop and make time to be with myself. It's kind of like I can keep pausing. Here's my tears again. I can keep pausing and making room for the little kid inside of me who never had the experience of somebody pausing and waiting for him.
Yeah. I have a question about what are you doing with your tears right now that keep coming up?
Saying hello to them and breathing and I'd say there's a mix of two things I'm doing with them. One thing is part of me is holding against them so they don't come. And the other part of me is celebrating them. I was working with a person relatively recently who had stage 4 cancer and wound up dying from it. Here's my tears.
Yeah. If you need to take a break, just
No, this is where I don't want to take a break.
wow.
This is where I want to make room for this. But thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tough.
So I have more to my answer there. In working with this person one day, towards the end of her life, she stopped in the middle of the session, and we had been talking at a very deep level, and we both were having our tears. And she stopped and looked at me and kind of cocked her head, as she always did when she had something deep to say. And she said, "David, you need to know that your tears are your superpower."
I like that.
Which is one of the coolest things anybody's ever said to me.
Yeah.
You know, as an American male, I was brought up to be humiliated about having tears.
Absolutely.
And now, you really is the coolest thing, which is amazing.
Yeah. Why don't you release them and let them come out, opposed to holding them and putting them back in?
Well, I don't feel like I'm holding them and putting them back in right now.
Okay.
I'm letting them be here. And I feel like they're here at the level they need to be at right now.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm squishing them back down right now.
Okay. I was wondering about that, because sometimes I've been a master. I've been able to swallow my tears. Yeah. How should someone ground themselves when they're overwhelmed by their emotions? I think you're practicing that right now.
I'm practicing it right now. Keep stopping and keep breathing and keep welcoming.
Stop, breathe, welcome.
Mm-hmm.
How to put out the emotional fire.
Yeah. And I think the foundation of that is that there's no feeling that can possibly be a problem, which is the exact opposite of how I was raised.
A lot of people.
Yeah. The only feeling that was really welcomed in our family was happiness.
Maybe that's why so many people fake their happiness.
Yeah, yeah.
They put on a face
And hide behind that.
Absolutely right. How should someone deal with guilt when they're trying to prioritize themselves?
When they're trying to prioritize themselves?
Yeah, so they might put off or distance themselves just to heal themselves. But at the same time, they feel guilt for not being present for maybe someone else.
I guess the way to heal that would be to say to the person that you love, I need to be by myself for a little while. And I promise I'll come back. And acknowledge I can't always be there for you.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
And to make that clear and to make that option an option
Yeah.
is to create more space in the relationship where it feels safe.
Nice. So before we end this video, what's one of the biggest life lessons you learned from this path of being a therapist? Just one that you can take away. I know there's multiple.
That's a big question.
Yeah, I know there's multiple. One that just pops up and say, I'm glad I found this because of this.
Well, what I would say is I'm still, as I work as a therapist, I'm still kind of like thunderstruck that the very things that as a kid I thought were the worst things about me and that I felt like I had to get rid of, like certain feelings, like that the more I can make room for them, and not from a place of I'm going to take over the whole session and just cry on your hour. If that starts to happen, I need to go back to therapy and get more support.
Yeah.
But the more I can make room for all of those parts of who I am that I used to think I had to get rid of, the work is simpler, it's easier, I don't have to struggle with trying to figure things out. I just know things. And there's more healing that happens. It's on that level, and here's my tears. And that's because I feel very passionate about this.
Yeah.
On that level, the work is very spiritual and miraculous. It's about two people meeting.
Yeah. Speaking of two people meeting, how did you and your wife meet?
Oh, everybody thinks...
It's another setup question.
No, I love
Right.
that setup question. Everybody thinks that we met at HFI because we both worked there.
Yeah.
We did not meet at HFI. We both met in a dance class called Dance for Undancers.
This is too funny.
And I want to say, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to make a joke that puts me down. Donna had been a dancer.
Okay.
She started dancing. When did you start dancing? 7 years old, yeah. No wonder I couldn't keep up with you. Donna was there because she wanted to go back to dance. She had been away from it a long time, and it was something she felt very deeply psyched about.
Yeah.
I didn't have that connection to dance. I wanted to go to this class because they advertised it as, if you've just had an injury, which I had just had to my back. I had this job lugging around these big heavy canisters of liquid oxygen.
Okay.
And I lasted on that job about 6 months before my back said, no, not doing this anymore.
Wow.
And so I went to that class as a way to really work with my back and get through that and not hurt myself again. So there was this woman in that class.
All right, I'm gonna put you up to another test. Put you in hot water. What year was that?
That had to have been about 1982.
That was the year I was born.
Huh.
Was it in December? Was it a cold night in December?
Well, that December cold night might have been the night that our class got together for a party.
Mm-mm.
And I found out that she was getting a divorce.
Yes. So what was that first interaction or that first, I know we're going off script, but I'm kind of interested now. What was that interaction? Did you approach her, or was it something natural that she had to help you out with a dance move, or do you not remember?
It was very natural. We just kind of,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I might pass the mic. I don't deserve this right now.
This is where therapy had helped me develop the support to even go back to dancing. And it was such a difficult time in my life. And when we met, someone videoed our class, and when we started a conversation, and somehow it led to therapy. And what we discovered is we were both in therapy. And great, where are you in therapy? Oh, I'm at a place called Hartford Family. I said, oh, so am I.
No way.
Who is your therapist? We had the same therapist.
No
Way.
You did meet through HR.
Yeah,
In a way, yeah.
he kept asking me out, and I kept saying no, because I'd gone back to get my education, and so he kept lowering the bar. Kindly, he said, how about a walk to Elizabeth Park, and I'll make sure you get home to do your homework. I finally said yes.
So y'all had same therapist.
Yeah.
It was meant to be.
It was.
Wow.
And this is getting into the whole subject of working with couples. And I don't want to go all the way into that, but I want to say that this was at a time in my life where I had enough therapy under my belt, where I wasn't utilizing the same defensive moves around women, which was I would only go out with women and keep going out with them if I knew they didn't care about me. If I knew they cared about me, I'd hit the road fast and they'd never see me again. Only I was conscious of all this by now. I said,
That's very, very interesting.
Hello, David. I thank you and your wife for your precious time and allowing me to be in your beautiful home of nature. Great interview, and we'll be doing more, obviously. And now I'm at a loss for words.
so can we just be here?
We can just be here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It is such a pleasure to just be here with you.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Now we just need a campfire and some marshmallows and
Absolutely.
all right.
I'll be right back.
Until next time.